RG. The only reason Shanahan and Lynch aren't fired is because they hit on Brock Purdy. Did they make a bad draft pick? Yes, they made a bad draft pick in Trey Lance. They gave up three first-round picks. That's a tough loss for anybody. However, the team that traded 3 first-round picks to give up that quarterback also went to the NFC Championship without that quarterback. They were, without Trey Lance, they were ranked offensively like 5th in points, 6th in yards, something like that. Number 1 overall defense. I'm talking about, yeah, they missed on Trey Lance. They didn't miss on Bosa. They didn't miss on Kittle. They didn't miss on Deebo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk. My fault, no disrespect to BA. Elijah Mitchell. Picked up Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, Greenlaw, Fred Warner. They ain't miss on them. What are we fucking talking about? Don't do this. Yeah, is there a conversation that Shanahan could mishandle some quarterback situations? Absolutely. Absolutely. But let's not fucking say this is the only reason they didn't get fired. They've been Super Bowl contenders 3 out of the last 4 years. I don't know what else to fucking tell you, but that's fucking, God, do us a favor.
Hey, Will, can we stay out of the closet? You know, when we go on these walks, let's stay out of the closet. Let's go somewhere where we used to talk when we were with the Washington Redskins. The shower. All right. Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, yeah, they have successfully built one of the most unbelievable skill groups on offense we have ever seen. Also, on defense, they built one of the most dominating and suffocating defenses we have ever seen. But if Jimmy Johnson can get fired the year after he just won his 2nd Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys, so can Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. If Don McCaffrey can get fired 2 years after winning the Super Bowl by the Baltimore Colts, and oh my goodness, he was 5 games removed from taking his team to the AFC Championship the year before and still got fired. And oh yeah, George Seifert. Does that name ring any bells? San Francisco 49ers. He got fired, aka resigned, 2 years after winning his last Super Bowl with the 49ers because he didn't like what they were doing to him. So, when you talk to me about Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, the reason I'm saying the only reason they didn't get fired is because they hit on Brock Purdy is because they missed on the most important position in all of football when they traded up 3 first-rounders to go get Trey Lance. So now, if Trey Lance isn't a hit and you got rid of Jimmy G, when Jimmy G goes down last year for them, if Brock Purdy doesn't come in and be the best story in all of the NFL, they would have missed on Brock Purdy as well. And if they had continued to struggle or started to struggle after last year's injury to Jimmy Garoppolo, they would have been in some hot water now. Coming into this year, they would be on a hot seat. So for you to say, oh, there's no way the only reason that they're not fired or close to getting fired is because Brock Purdy was a hit, you don't understand the game of football. If Jimmy Johnson can get the axe, literally after winning a Super Bowl, anybody can.
All you're saying right there is that anything can happen in the NFL. Yeah, no shit. But those 3 examples have nothing to do with what's going on with the 49ers right now. Your initial statement was that the 49ers made the worst draft day decision of all time. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch would be fired if they didn't get essentially lucky plucking Brock Purdy out of some magician's hat. And you're angling it and framing it like the front office is incompetent and they should be on the hot seat if it doesn't work out for them this year. And you're using 3 examples that had nothing to do with the roster building and the success on the field. It had all to do with ego. Going back to Jerry Jones with Jimmy Johnson, that's well documented that Jerry fucked that up. It was a disconnect between ownership and head coach. Jerry's even had talked about that. When you talk about Seifert with the 49ers, yeah, they had a lot of success, but again, there was a contract dispute between, the upper room and the head coach. And so he bailed. He resigned. It was an aging roster. They just had a lot of success. He bailed. He just like, I don't need this shit. Then you try to pull some shit out of the 1700s with the Baltimore Colts. And yeah, I had to go back and look into that one. But that one right there, ownership changed that year that McCaffrey got fired. Ownership changed that year after the success that they had. And they started off sucking. Ownership wanted him to bench his quarterback. He said, no, you guys. So they fired him. Again, ego. Nothing to do with roster building and winning football games. All to do with ego. This situation right here with the 49ers, there's no disconnect between ownership and front office. Right now, yes, anything can happen as you're just trying to pull all these fucking examples, for sure. But again, putting the most position, they missed on Trey Lance, the most important position on the football field. But the most important thing in the NFL is fucking wins, roster building, and winning football games. And the 49ers are doing that right now. And it doesn't matter who's out there on the field. They're building such a well-rounded roster and hitting on everything else that it doesn't fucking matter. Yes, they fucked up with Trey Lance, but to act like there's like on some hot seat and then trying to angle it like, oh, they messed up so badly. They messed up so badly with Trey Lance. Like, they're lucky. They're lucky. They should be fired, but they're lucky because they got Brock Purdy. Like, that's bullshit. You do a great job speaking and believing your own bullshit, and everybody else that aren't football guys will fall for that shit. But not I. Not I.